We are following breaking news from the nation's capital as we come on the air tonight. This is a live look from outside of it. This has an entire day of debt ceiling bill debate, and an agreement has been reached. A deal between House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and President Joe Biden has finally been passed in the House. The majority of voters voting yes. Now that deal goes to the Senate.
Now, this vote comes after House members approved a rule earlier today. It governs floor debate, and such rules usually pass with just the support of the majority party. But for this one, the yes votes came from 187 Republicans and 52 Democrats. That's because 29 Republicans voted against their party, requiring support from across the aisle. Now, here's House Speaker Kevin McCarthy talking about the vote earlier.
Tonight, I hope we proved it to you again, that we put the citizens of America first. And we didn't do it by taking the easy way. We didn't do it by the ways that people did it in the past by just lifting it. We decided that you had to spend less, and we achieved that goal.
And one Ohio senator gave his approval for the bill already earlier today.
I plan to vote yes. The goal is we could not allow, like Republicans were trying to force, we could not allow that there be a default. We protected Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security and veterans benefits. That was our goal. We succeeded in that. I plan to vote yes.
Now, Congress needs to raise the debt ceiling by June 5th, or the U.S. could default, potentially causing an economic catastrophe.
And now lawmakers are responding with this decision needing to be made just a week from now. Claire Faith is live in studio now. And Claire, what are other Ohio lawmakers saying about all this?
Yes, Adam, other Ohio lawmakers are making their voices heard on social media with this bill potentially impacting not just Ohioans, but Americans across the country. Republican Senator J.D. Vance tweeted, quote, two possible messages on the debt ceiling deal. One, is the best that we could do in an era of divided government. And two, it's a historic deal for the country. And now Democrat Congress Greg Landsman, who voted in favor of the bill, says, quote, Southwest Ohio sent me to Congress in part to restore normalcy in the government, to be bipartisan, accountable, transparent, and reliable. And that's who I am, and that's why I voted yes. Now the bill is on its way to the Senate floor. Now back to you.
Claire, thank you. There was a shooting over the Rhine in Cincinnati. 4 people wounded there, including 3 minors. The youngest victim just 10 years old.
Luke Jones brings us the very latest from the scene and what exactly led up to the violence.
A dizzying maze of crime tape, evidence markers, and shattered glass on the streets of OTR. The end result of a 4 o'clock shooting with multiple shooters and multiple victims.
It was like pow, 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 then it was like pat, pat, then it went pow, 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 pow again. Like they had a extendo on there.
Bullets went everywhere, hitting a man in his 20s and 3 children, ages 15, 14, and 10. A stray bullet flew into Dominique Blunt's car as she was pulling up to Walnut and McMicken, shattering her back window and grazing the back of her shoulder.
These little kids was in a fight. They were arguing, coming from the pool, I guess.
That's when she says 2 cars pulled up and the bullets started flying.
So these people that was in a car, they was arguing behind these little kids. They jumped out and they just started shooting at each other.
One of the bullets hit this car doors down on McMicken as one of the victims ran into this corner store and collapsed on the floor.
That is unacceptable for somebody to think they could drive down the street, fire this many rounds, and just keep driving and think they're going to get away with it. They are not going to get away with this.
Locals tell us this section of OTR, anchored by Grant Park, is a hotspot for crime. You can see all the assaults and robberies police have been called for over the last 3 years. And just last week, a man was killed 2 streets over. While police confirmed this shooting was captured on camera, some would like to see more cameras in the area.
When you have these hotspots, you need to put those cameras up, one, for prevention. People are less likely to do things when they know that there's a working camera.
But today, a working camera was no match for several working guns.
So I'm grateful that I'm even alive right now. Like, I'm scared, still terrified.
Police have said that they will be releasing video of the cars involved. This remains under investigation tonight. We, of course, will continue to update you both on air and online as we get more information.
Live look tonight from the Miami Valley Jail's website as this man was sentenced to 5 years in prison today after being convicted of swindling Memorial Day tornado victims. Robert Greene did business as TK Home Improvement and was in home repair contracts with at least 10 victims. But he either didn't complete the work or even started at all. Now, Greene had previously been sentenced to 5 years of community control sanctions and pay $300 per month in restitution, but that was revoked when he failed to make a payment at the deadline to do so.
An Ohio inmate who escaped custody near Akron is now back behind bars. This man here, Jason Conrad, escaped while he was out for a medical appointment. Conrad was able to get away when he was getting out of the transport vehicle. Now, officials say he was handcuffed at the time. No word tonight if there will be any additional charges he will be facing because of this.
Kettering police taking to Facebook asking for the public for help after a box trailer was stolen. Take a look. In the video, you can see a red pickup truck steal a trailer from a business parking lot. Now, the theft took place Sunday around 10:40 at night. If you got any information on the truck or the suspects involved, call Kettering Police Detectives at the number on your screen.
Let's give you a live look tonight from our ODOT cameras across the Miami Valley. We begin the deadliest 100 days for teen drivers, and law enforcement tonight asking everyone to be vigilant. This is new numbers show more people died on Ohio roads over the past Memorial Day weekend than in recent years. Mamie Baugh tells us what the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office is saying about this trend.
The sheriff's office tells me more people are out on the roadways. As you know, school's out for college students and high school students. And right now, those 100 days are starting on a somber note, with 2 students dying in crashes in Warren County. One of those students is a Carroll High School student. She was 16 years old, Samantha Anders. She died after a crash here on State Route 73 and Clarksville Road in Wayne Township. You also have Sean Mitchell. He died on Memorial Day. Investigators say he drove off the left side of the road and hit a tree in Warren County. The 17-year-old had just finished his junior year at Warren County Career Center. The Montgomery County Sheriff's Office tells me that the 100 days is not unique to Ohio, it's nationwide.
Our statistics show that we're having more crashes, we're having more serious crashes, and then once again, just out driving around, you can see people driving faster than they should be, running red lights.
Now, the sheriff's office says when it comes to your teenagers, drive around with your teenagers and also let them know that they need to be mindful. They should not be in the car with other teenagers. I'm told that causes distractions. Back to you.
Well, speaking of summer, it sure feels like we're in summer. We are not even, we're not there yet, but gosh, we feel like we're in the deep throes of it at this point.
Yes, summer meteorologically officially begins tomorrow, June 1st.
There you go.
So, but it's feeling like it already. It's been a hot one today, climbing into the 80s, upper 80s. 87 was our high, 63 was our low. So you can see we were well above normal, especially for that normal high, 78, 59 our normal low. We started out on the cool side, mainly just mild, but we have a warm one on the way for tomorrow again. We have 76 in Dayton, 72 in Urbana, 70 in Wapakoneta right now, and it's going to remain quiet overnight. Showers fired up to our west in Indiana. We didn't see any of that, and we could use some at this point, but mostly clear, mild, lower 60s expected overnight. But heading into the end of the week, we have 90s in the forecast. I'll let you know when we could see some rain back in the mix too, coming up in just a bit.
Tonight, we continue our Crisis in the Classroom series by focusing on the LGBTQIA+ rights in our local schools. Recently, there's been controversy surrounding Kettering City Schools' gender-fluid prom king and queen, plus an anti-harassment policy change in the Bellbrook Sugar Creek School District. Tonight, we're asking, how does this affect a student's mental health?
In Montgomery County, the rate of students that considered suicide seriously is about 16%. When we move into our LGBTQ+ population, it moves up to about 42%.
Now you can see our full Crisis in the Classroom investigation on our website at Dayton247now.com.
And as the school year comes to an end, festivities and programs are just getting started, but some of them can be a little bit expensive. So Abby Forbes spoke with the YWCA to see what they're doing to help kids get into a camp. What'd you learn, Abby?
Yeah, I attended the YWCA's Cork for Camp fundraiser earlier this evening, and tickets for this event cost $50. Once there, attendees could enjoy women-produced wine, enter a 50-50 raffle, and purchase merchandise. I was told that a portion of the proceeds from these sales go directly towards campers, which is especially significant this year because the Girls Lead Summer Camp reached their maximum number of enrollment.
We're here for a Corks for Camp fundraiser celebrating and supporting our Girls in Summer Camp specifically. Contributions made here will support girls' scholarships to come to camp.
So like a lot of other things with the pandemic, Abby, summer camps in person were few and far between. Did the YWCA talk about what benefits there are to in-person camps?
They did. They've been building this camp back up since the pandemic forced them to be online. And they told me that they value the interpersonal relationships that they strive to build for at this camp.
Not only do they get to dive into what their interests may be academically and also personally, but they get to build an environment with other girls who share similar experiences and or different ones.
They told me that they also plan to have another fundraiser like this next year to continue to help young girls gain those interpersonal skills without breaking the bank. Back to you.
Now, the 2024 presidential race becoming increasingly crowded. The two Republicans expected to announce their bid in the coming week.
Plus, when we will see rain across the area, I'll let you know when that will arrive coming up. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now. Well, it's been another dry one across the Miami Valley. Mostly clear skies out there right now. Check out just off to our west. They got some activity, shower and thunderstorm activity earlier into the day with the heat of the day. Saw some showers pop up. Unfortunately, we didn't get any of that, and we could use some at this point with, as you can see, our next weather maker, temperatures that are going to be staying in the 60s as you start off tomorrow morning. We warm up very quickly, though, mid upper 80s as we head into the afternoon. By Friday morning, we start out in the 60s again, and then Friday afternoon, I think will be our warmest day of these next 7 days. Mid upper 80s, maybe some 90s across the area. Now, there is a chance for some precipitation by Sunday, Monday into Tuesday of next week, as we do have a frontal system that will make its way through. But taking a look at precipitation accumulation from across the U.S., rainfall off to our west, we do have barely any, as you can see through the tri-state into the Miami Valley. Dry weather pattern continuing on for us. I'm going to talk about what we've seen for the month of May coming up.
President Joe Biden sounding the alarm tonight over climate change. He says severe weather from last year alone cost the U.S. more than $165 billion in damages. Now, despite this, he claims the country is better prepared for extreme weather this year. After meeting with his federal response team today, the president highlighted how advancements in satellite technology are allowing the government to better track hurricanes and wildfires. He also touted his own climate policies.
Over the past 2 years, a third of Americans have been personally affected by extreme weather conditions. With the impacts of climate change rapidly intensifying, more and more Americans will be affected. That's why we've also invested so much in making sure we deal with climate change and mitigate it.
The president's remark come just 1 day before the official start to the Atlantic hurricane season. Federal forecasters predict a near normal season this year with 5 to 9 hurricanes developing. And we're learning tonight, CNN now saying federal prosecutors have a recording of former President Donald Trump admitting to having a classified document. Now, the recording was made in 2021, and the document is reportedly about a potential attack on Iran. Now, sources say that Trump understood the document was classified and can be heard saying he would like to share it, but was aware of his limitations to declassify it post-presidency. The recording is described as an important piece of evidence in special counsel Jack Smith's investigation into the former president.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis continued to make rounds in his 2024 presidential campaign in Iowa today.
Our great American comeback starts by sending Joe Biden back to his basement in Delaware.
Now, DeSantis hopes to connect with voters in the state whose caucuses kick off the GOP primary voting. The Republican is also lobbying attacks back at former President Trump, accusing him of moving left on issues like immigration and the pandemic. Polls show Trump is gaining a sizable lead over DeSantis in recent weeks. Trump himself scheduled to be in Iowa tomorrow.
Former Vice President Mike Pence is set to launch his campaign for president on next week in Iowa. Now he's adding his name to a growing list of nominees. Pence sees Iowa as critical to his chances. He intends to campaign aggressively for the state's evangelical voters.
And former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie set to announce the 2024 presidential bid himself next Tuesday in New Hampshire. A one-time ally to former President Trump, Christie is now firmly opposed to the former White House resident. For months, Christie has been laying into Trump, urging GOP presidential candidates to do the same.
One of the reasons I think he can't come back is he failed us. He failed us as president based upon what he himself told us in 2015 and 2016 he would do if he became president.
Now, the GOP field is getting more crowded with Trump, DeSantis, and now Christie all in, among others. Axios reports that Christie's campaign will focus on speaking to America's, quote, exhausted majority.
And let's give you a live look tonight from our Eco Plumbers Skycam. Absolutely gorgeous day, and I hear, Natalie, more on the way.
Well, another warm one out here. Feeling a little sticky now, and we will feel just a little bit humidity over these next several days. Nothing too terrible, but as far as rainfall goes, not expecting much in these next 7 days. Taking a look at what we've seen for the month of May, though, 1.89 inches, so less than 2 inches of rainfall for the month of May. Normal is 4.5 inches. It's been 11 days since we've seen any rainfall, and that puts us over 2.5 inches below normal. We are at the 8th driest May on record, and that dry weather pattern sticks around for us. This is the precipitation outlook from the Climate Prediction Center. From June 6th to 10th, below normal precipitation expected in the forecast for us. I'll have a look at our 7-day, talk about some small rain chances coming up here in just a bit.
A new push to get military families into museums, all for free. Up next, how the Dayton Art Institute is collabing with a national program to make it all happen.
You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
After 73 years, an Ohio soldier killed during the Korean War has now been identified and his remains are coming home. Get this, 18-year-old U.S. Army Private First Class Billy DeBoard of Miamisburg was reported missing in action in 1950 after a battle near South Korea. Now in 1951, a set of remains was found but declared unidentifiable. They were then buried in Hawaii. Then, in 2019, scientists finally identified them as DeBoard. Now he will be buried in Miamisburg on Veterans Day.
The Dayton Art Institute hosting military families today to celebrate Blue Star Museums. That's in partnership with the National Endowment for the Arts, Department of Defense, and Blue Star Families, an organization meant to serve and empower military families. Museums across the U.S. are offering free admission to active duty personnel and their families this summer.
By museums offering free admission to active duty military personnel, families have more opportunities to encounter awe-inspiring art, absorb lessons from history, engage in moments of discovery, create connections with their communities, and important memories that last a lifetime.
The program began on Armed Forces Day and will continue until Labor Day. If you aren't part of the military, you can still get in the museum for free on the next Community Day, Sunday, June 25th. The annual Kettering Block Party took over the Fry's Pavilion earlier today. It's a free event for the whole family. Live music, a hot dog roast, bike helmet fitting for kids, and interactive booths from local organizations. Those running the event were glad that the storm clouds stayed away this time, unlike last year.
Last year, this time of year, we also often encounter weather. And we're very lucky today to have a beautiful day to do this. Last year, we had to delay it. Every year we do get it done, though, and we have a great time out here.
And though it may be over now, you can check it out again next year. The date still yet to be determined right now. Well, today marked the deadline for underclassmen who thought about entering the NBA draft to decide if they wanted to return to college. One Dayton Flyer making the decision to return to the Miami Valley.
You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.